Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Homestand TV. I'm your host, Celine Trimarchi, alongside my co-host, Justin Pooni. Justin, how are you doing today?
I'm doing all right, Celine. Canucks won last night, 3 straight. We are 1 point out of a playoff spot, so I'm doing well.
We're not here to talk about the Canucks.
Okay, well, I just
We're
wanted
not
to
in
get that out
Vancouver.
there. That's fine.
Okay,
That's fine. I'm just letting everybody else know that the Canucks
No
are
one
on a
cares.
3-game heater right now.
No one cares.
Hey, at least my goalie doesn't have to knock the net off.
Okay, so let's start with that one. On Friday night, in the matchup between the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Minnesota Wild, yes, Matt Murray was dislodging the net a couple of times.
No, couples too.
Three times. It's okay. Yeah, 3 times. Okay, yes. Head coach, pissed off. I'd be mad too. But he also did this against New Jersey as well. So there's an issue going on. So Justin, what are your thoughts on this whole thing?
Matt Murray's playing with fire right now. He's gotten away with it, right? I know everybody in Minnesota had their hands up in arms and everything like that, and they were very, upset. And he's gotten away with it, but I don't think he's going to get away with it for any much longer because the NHL now has your attention, Matt Murray, and you dislodging the net on some loophole or some Bush League thing that you decide to find that you can get away with. It's not going to happen anymore, right?
Yep.
And for me, look, if you want to do things to, that kind of bend the rules to try to win, I can respect it. I don't have to like it, but I think it's just completely Bush League from Matt Murray, right?
Yeah.
You're paid to stop the puck in the net, not dislodge the net,
Yeah.
right? And we saw it in New Jersey, and they started throwing garbage on the ice. We saw it in Minnesota.
Okay, but that was because of the 3 uncalled goals too.
Okay. But and also Minnesota as well, right? The head coach was not happy. Players were not happy. Even Minnesota's goaltending coach got involved and made some comments about it as well. The NHL is going to be watching, and this is going to get Matt Murray in trouble if he continues this. And I don't know if he will. Hopefully it stops now. Now that it has media attention, everybody's been talking about it. Hopefully this ends. But if Matt Murray continues this, he's going to get himself in some deep trouble. And is he doing it because he just doesn't think he's a good enough goalie to stay and then stop the puck? That's what I'm wondering.
Yeah, I don't know. He'll definitely get fined if he continues doing this. The NHL...
Or suspended even.
Oh, yeah. The NHL is definitely going to have their eyes on Matt Murray. But Matt Murray, I think it's more of he just gets nervous. Like you were saying, he's a good goaltender. But I feel like when the other team's applying that sort of pressure, it's like a comfort type of thing. You know what I mean?
Why? But that shouldn't be a comfort.
It shouldn't be a thing. No, I completely disagree. I'm a Leafs fan, and this should not be happening. This is embarrassing when it happens. But I think that's just when you get nervous and you just like a nerve. You know what I mean?
Like when I get nervous,
when you get nervous, you bite your nails. You know what I mean?
I never bit my nails.
Okay, that's an example though.
When I get nervous,
I
like eat.
Okay, there you go.
So
like stress eating. I feel like this is something for Matt Murray. He's just
instead of stress eating, Matt Murray knocks the net off.
He just knocks the net over.
Okay, fair enough. But look,
it shouldn't happen though. Regardless,
it should not happen. And I think with Matt Murray, now you're putting an even bigger spotlight on yourself. Right, because not only the league's gonna be watching, but opposing teams' fans are gonna be watching you more. They're gonna get on you more about this. It's just opening yourself up now for if things go sideways. That mental ability that we talk about nerves just increases and heightens, right? Because then teams and fans are gonna be heckling about it. Other teams' commentators are gonna be talking about it. It's gonna become a story now in the media because everything about the Maple Leafs, even the smallest things, become a massive story, right? And I just think Matt Murray doing this now. Look, one time it's fine, but 3 times in one game, something's fishy about that, right?
There's a difference between doing it subtly once, but not
But 3 times in one game,
no.
And it'll be interesting to see what happens tonight in Detroit if he decides to put on those tactics, because we're talking about the Red Wings a little bit later. But
I mean, with the way Dylan Larkin's been playing, he might be dislodging that net a couple times.
Yeah, he could be for sure.
He could. But keeping with the Leafs before we jump into their game against the Detroit Red Wings tonight. So Jacob Chychrun, he's been floating around. The name's been floating around. Now, their back end, obviously, it
needs some work.
It
doesn't need. It's hurt.
It's hurt. It's injured. It's injured. And now Jacob Chychrun, his name's floating around. Should the Leafs trade for him? Should they not trade for him? Kyle Dubas, excuse me, I can't talk right now. Kyle Dubas has been thinking about this for a while.
Long time.
For a while. For the past few years, we've been hearing this happen. Nothing has ever happen, though. He's never pursued him.
Mm-hmm.
Justin, do you think it's time that they pursue Jacob Chychrun?
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, their back end is not, it needs work. But then again, what assets does Leaf have to give up? Like, when you're talking about these trades, like Jacob Chychrun's a top 4 defenseman in the NHL, right?
Mm-hmm.
By all means, he is that guy, right? And I think when I look at Jacob Chychrun, I see his style. It could fit definitely with the Leafs, right? But I just don't think the cap space and asset-wise, look, the Leafs are cap-strapped, right?
Yeah, now they are.
So what are you going to move out, right? You're not going to move out Morgan Riley. None of those big-ticket deals are going to be moved out. Can you move out some depth pieces? And what's Arizona going to ask in return, right? Top 4 defensemen don't come cheap in the NHL, right? So while I think it might be a nice pipe dream for the Leafs, I just don't know if they have the assets required to trade for Jacob Chychrun, right?
Mm-hmm.
I've even heard Erik Karlsson's name.
Okay, what?
Right? Well, he's playing really good in San Jose.
He is,
right?
but that's impossible.
Why is it impossible?
There's no chance that Toronto Maple Leafs are going to go after Erik Karlsson.
Why?
Why do you think they're going to go after Erik
I don't
Karlsson?
think it's going to happen because the cap. Look,
the cap space is horrible.
All this thing is cap space, right? But
the Leafs have been. I've heard already in the past about getting Erik Karlsson to the Toronto Maple Leafs, but it's never happened. I mean, it should have happened when we thought it might happen.
It was never going to happen. He was never going to go from Ottawa to Toronto. No. But
why wouldn't he go from Ottawa to Toronto?
No, I'm saying it was never going to happen.
Okay.
Remember, he got traded from the Sens to the Sharks. They're going to try to trade him out of the conference as far away from Ottawa as possible, right? The Leafs back end, while it'd be nice to make a move, they just don't have, like I said, they don't have the assets or cap space to make an impact move like a Chychrun or whoever, right? Now, if somehow Kyle Dubas can get creative and make it happen, by all means, this team's in win now mode, right?
Mm-hmm.
We know this team cannot keep on pulling out the same lineup, same core, because eventually, if there's no playoff success behind it, there's going to be whole sweeping changes. And I think we're on the last straw with this team, right? Where if they don't get past the first round or even make a sustained run in the playoffs, you're going to see wholesale changes, right?
We better see
you have
some
to, right?
changes.
You have players that are in their prime and they've been running it back. And what's the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting the same result. And that's what the Leafs are doing. So while I think, all these moves are fine and dandy to talk about, I just don't see them happening because cap space and
we're strapped
and
completely.
asset wise, right? So we'll see. I think the Leafs will be more like watching the depth, like maybe Luke Shen from the Canucks.
Yeah, maybe Luke Shen. Well, right now Justin Hall has been playing pretty well.
But
as much as I don't want to say
how
that.
can we? How long
can you really rely on him?
Yeah.
That's the question. It's
And
like
Mark
another Jake
Giordano's
Gardner.
Mark Giordano's been probably their most consistent defenseman all season, maybe. Right?
He has put up nothing.
He logs minutes,
He
right?
logs minutes, that's about it.
But Morgan Riley's now out, and then Mark Giordano has to step up even more. He's 40 years old, right? So,
And with Morgan Riley even being out, he's our offensive defenseman, and he's put up absolutely 0 goals. 0 goals. So, whatever. I guess we're just going to have to kind of wait and see. Honestly, this team stresses me out so much because it's the same conversation over and over and over again that we always have.
Yeah, this is the mess they made.
It's the complete mess.
Not a mess they made.
Dubas should have fixed
This is the situation they put themselves in. It's not a mess in the regular season, but in the playoffs, it comes back to bite you nowhere.
Always comes back to bite them in the ass. I'm just going to say it. So the Toronto Maple Leafs, they're taking on the Detroit Red Wings, like we were just mentioning earlier on today. And the Red Wings are on fire. Let me tell you this. They're third in the Atlantic Division, 11-5-4. They won their last 4 games. This is their best record after 20 games in 12 years. 14th in goals per game, 14th in goals against per game. And in their special teams, they're 12th on the power play. And they were 26th last year. And they're 6th on the penalty kill. And they were 32nd last year. Completely different team this year from
It's the Yzer-Plan. The Yzer-Plan. Steve Yzerman came in, of course, from Tampa after he built, that dynasty and then left, right? His plan is now coming to fruition. All these players now, the young players are coming in, the Michael Rasmussens, the Mo Siders, the Dylan Larkins. All these guys are playing a lot better. They're getting into the lineup. And you're seeing now the evolution of the Red Wings. Remember the Red Wings for my entire childhood, right? the Red Wings were always a dominant team. They had 20 straight years they made the playoffs or whatever it was. And you always could count on the Detroit Red Wings being a Stanley Cup contender. Now, they're not there yet, but you're seeing the foundation being laid in Detroit where this team is going to be consistently involved in the playoff conversation. Now, do I think they're on the level of the Leafs right now? No. But as they continue to get better, the young players get more development. They're going to have a lot of cap space still, right? They're going to have to acquire more players. I like what Detroit's doing, and I trust Steve Yzer-Man because he's done it before. He will build another championship contender in Detroit.
Do you think that they'll make the playoffs at least?
Well, right now,
or make the playoffs?
The Leafs better hope that this stays like this because they would have to play Detroit in the first round. And I think the Leafs would obviously beat Detroit in the playoff series. So Leaf fans out there, you better hope and pray Detroit stays like this. And they finish third in the division so you guys can play them because I believe the Leafs would beat Detroit in a playoff series, right? If they don't, then
I think so too.
Hey,
I think so too.
I think that's the bet. You avoid Tampa, you avoid Boston, you play Detroit.
Big teams.
That might be something that is very important for the Leafs. But I think this is the year one of Detroit finally turning it up and getting back to where they used to be so many years ago, where they were winning Stanley Cups, consecutive playoff contenders. And like I said, I think it's a testament to how good Steve Yzer-Man was. A great player, Hall of Famer, but just the way he can find talent and build a roster, I think it's a testament to how great he is as an exec.
Well, tonight we'll get a little taste of that. The Toronto Maple Leafs, they're in Detroit to take on the Red Wings. Now the Leafs are 6-0-2 in their past 8 games, and the Red Wings have a record of 7-2-2 in games. They have fewer penalties than their opponent. So Matt Murray, do not dislodge the net.
Don't knock the net off.
Please don't dislodge the net because then we're going to get a penalty. So don't do it. But that's all from us today on the Homestand TV. I'm your host, Celine Trimarchi, alongside Justin Pooni. Go Leafs, go!
Okay, homer right there.